What's up everyone, Ben here again for Fluent in Finance, the channel dedicated to all things personal finance. And if you were wondering, no, that wasn't clickbait. We are actually going to be talking about how I, a regular blue-collar worker, lost over $1 million in profit from having an insufficient credit score, and why every American should begin building their credit as soon as possible. So back in 2009, I was in the military and I had just gotten stationed in San Francisco, California. And as people will remember, that was the year of the single largest housing crash the world has ever known. The housing market was decimated and prices were at an all-time low. So I knew that this would be a fantastic time to buy a house. I had never bought one before, but if I was going to do it, this seemed like the perfect time, right? So armed with my VA loan, I went and I talked to my lender and I got pre-approved, or so I thought. I did my research and looked at a bunch of houses and got a realtor and all that. I eventually found a place that I really liked. So what I finally settled on was a 2-bedroom condo right on the beach. This thing was perfect, especially for a single guy like me. I mean, you looked out the living room window and all you saw was the beach and the ocean. Like, how much better does life get? Like, that was the kind of California lifestyle that I'd always imagined. So I put in an offer of $300,000 and it was accepted. And I was thrilled, and nervous all at the same time. I had never bought a house before, so it's all new. And then the underwriting process started. And for anybody that's actually bought a house before, this process sucks. It is probably one of the most frustrating things that you will go through. You see, your lender wants to dig into every minute detail of your financial life. You need to provide income statements and tax returns and monthly pay stubs, and you need to document everything. I remember my lender calling me up one afternoon and asking where I got this particular deposit from. They were calling about a $20 deposit, and they wanted to know where it was coming from. I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, I'm about to buy a $300,000 house, and you're worried about 20 bucks. So I spent weeks trying to run around and get them all of the documentation and letters and statements and everything that they wanted. And I thought, okay, cool, here we go. We're closing in on time. And then one day, my lender called me up and dropped a bombshell on me. You see, he told me that they weren't going to give me the loan after all. Even though they had pre-approved me, they were now going to deny me. And the reason being was because they said that even though my credit score was pretty good, my length of credit, my overall credit history, wasn't long enough for them to accurately gauge whether or not I would be able to repay this loan. And I was pissed. Why would you pre-approve me knowing that my credit history was rather short? Why not just deny me up front and save all of us the hassle of running around? Now, in fairness, like I said, this was 2009, and the financial world was falling apart. And banks, like everybody else, was scared. I mean, you had banks like Citibank that were going bankrupt. Massive financial institutions just crumbling around you. And so they were scared, and they didn't really want to lend out any more money. Because if they didn't lend out money, then they couldn't lose that money. So after going through this incredibly frustrating process, only to be given the biggest letdown and being told that they weren't even going to give me the loan to begin with, I was pissed. And I said, screw it, I don't want to go through this process again, and so I decided to rent. And that, ladies and gentlemen, turned out to be the single biggest financial mistake that I've made, because that cost me well over $1 million. You see, I had saved this particular home in an online search in Zillow when I was searching for different properties to buy. And so one day, a few years later, this house had recently sold again. And so Zillow sent me an update saying that this home was no longer on the market. Now, I had forgotten all about this home because, time goes on. And I opened up that email and I saw what the house sold for. And it sold for a lot. And when I say it sold for a lot, I mean, have you ever seen a grown man cry? Because that's what happened. So for those of you that don't know, San Francisco has some of the most expensive real estate in the entire world, with the average home price selling for over $1.4 million. So if that's the average home price, you can imagine what beachfront property in San Francisco sells for. And I had this property under contract for only $300,000. FML, right? Now, there's not much of a bright side to this story, but I did learn a few lessons. And the first is that credit matters. It matters a lot. Now, at this point, my credit score is well over 800, and I have gone on to purchase multiple investment properties since then. But this just goes to show you how important your credit score is and why you need to start building your credit as early as possible so that you don't miss out on opportunities like this too when they present themselves. You see, like it or not, your credit score is important. And it's more than just applying for a home loan or a car loan. A lot of people use your credit score. Even if you decide to rent, your landlord is going to pull a credit report for you. Insurance companies, your employer, all kinds of different people might take a look at your credit. It just depends on the circumstances. So your credit could be the difference between being approved for a loan or being denied for a loan. And if you are approved, what interest rate are they going to charge you? You see, on an average home price of, let's just say, $250,000, an interest rate change of only 0.5% could be the difference of over $20,000 over the life of the loan. That's a lot of money. So if the thought of potentially losing out on a $1 million plus investment opportunity isn't enough to get you off your butt and start working on your credit score, then I don't know what is. But if you're interested in trying to improve your credit score, thankfully there are a number of tips. So be sure to subscribe to this channel as we'll be going over all the tips and tricks to help you improve your credit starting today. And if you thought this video was helpful, leave a comment down below. Share your biggest success or failure when it comes to your credit score. Thanks, and I'll see you all again next time.